Good evening and welcome to the Motown Mansion. Tonight was a night of celebrations, even though it is a farewell, and Cynthia Reaves has done a wonderful job of restoring and adding love to this home, but it is being turned over to a new owner. But before that happens, we are celebrating, moving on from the home and her mother's birthday, and it is going to be a wonderful night.
It was a big adventure and a big project. I live in a sort of a large house, and I know that it's a lot with maintenance, but I had a husband. Cynthia was by herself,
Yeah.
but she was an attorney. She was making good, but this was her love. She loved this kind of stuff. Yeah. And I'm so happy because she did a beautiful job of restoring it, and I was so proud when she got the award from Governor Granholm. I was even more proud when I went to the White House
How about that?
with the President Barack Obama.
I love
Yeah.
that.
And for there was a Motown review there, and I went there, and it was very exciting because I saw that my daughter was being honored. I'm proud of what she has done. It was not so much what somebody else did or somebody else didn't do, but she saw that this is property that she could make beautiful and to enjoy. And I have enjoyed. I have enjoyed coming here with the fundraisers she's had sitting around. I would never have been exposed to those persons, you know.
Well, thank you for encouraging her and being a part of this experience.
That Cynthia didn't need my encouragement. Okay,
She-
that's
she
something
got it
that
on-
that
I
came
love
from
to hear
within.
I
That
love
came
to
from
hear that.
within, and all I had to do is support her when I
Support
could.
her. We
Yeah,
appreciate that.
and I appreciate your
All right,
asking.
and
me.
happy birthday.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
I shall.
All right.
Take care.
Bye. So inside they have a sign that says never say goodbye. So, we're physically leaving, but the Motown culture and the mansion will still remain with us.
Absolutely.
Why is that so important?
It's definitely important, one, that Detroit and Detroiters continue to preserve our history and our heritage. Detroit is just one of those places where we have so much, history. Sometimes I think we take for granted. We don't always realize and recognize what it is that we have, and the rest of the world does. And so I think even with the Motown Mansion being here, the history behind it, this is actually the first time that a lot of Detroiters have ever been here and have ever been able to experience it, at least from a younger generation. And so I think it's important that we continue to do that. It's great that Cynthia was able to keep the home up. She restored a lot of things. She really, preserved what could have just unfortunately been one of those things that went to ruin here in Detroit, but that didn't happen. And so it's exciting, right on the eve of them announcing the expansion of the Motown Museum. How great is this?
Exactly.
So we have to continue to support our own, to tell our own story, and to keep it going.
Our families are connected through her mother,
You and Cynthia.
Cynthia, my father and her mother, because that's the connection. And we've known each other for probably 25, almost 30 years. Okay.
And why is it here? Why is it important that you're here tonight?
Well, it's important for me to be here tonight because I want to wish her much success in her next venture, selling this beautiful home, beautiful property, and also to celebrate her mother's birthday, which is today. Mostly her mother's birthday, yes.
I can appreciate that.
Right.
Well, I hear the music playing, so I will let you continue on and celebrate.
Thank you.
So enjoy the evening.
Will do.
All right.
My history begins before the house. It begins with the Gordy family. They were very active at Bethel AME Church on Frederick and St. Edwine. Very early on when Barry Gordy Jr. was just getting started with the business, my late husband, Robert Williams, was one of those who helped contribute to the development of it early on, very early when he was just getting started. He was still in a house in a basement off of East 7 Mile somewhere. Coney Gardens, they used to call the area. But more than anything, after this home was purchased and it was very active, and I live right up the street, so that there was, we watched the Jackson 5 and Diana Ross. We watched them all. The whole neighborhood watched them come in. But what was so beautiful is that when they left, some of the members of Bethel, in fact, our family of Bethel, helped to keep the mansion going while they were gone. While they were gone. Also, Pop Gordy and Mrs. Gordy were just long before Motown and anything else. They were tremendous people. Started a construction company in the city of Detroit. And I remember we visited when Pop Gordy, who was very wonderful and very warm and very thoughtful, had diabetes and his leg was amputated. And we went out when they were in California at that time to visit him. And he told us about he and his wife in Mississippi just getting started and that they had to dig their own well. He brought us to the history of coming to Detroit and starting a construction company with all the kids, with the whole family, and just beautiful children, beautiful dad, beautiful mom, all of the way.
So the history about this family and this house goes way back before than what most people know.
Oh my God, yes.
So now that the house is moving on, so to speak, and there's a farewell celebration, why is it so important that we preserve what we've come to experience as Motown?
A couple of things, I think. One, I can't walk away from Cynthia and what she's done saving this house. It's sat almost vacant for a long time, and the work that she's put in restoring it and bringing the community back when everybody was saying, don't waste your money, don't waste your time. She did it. She did it. And one of the reasons why she did it, because she in her own way is a historian, and she recognized the history that came before Gordy was here, but she also recognized the value that the Gordy family brought here. And she, thank God, was able to make a contribution to it as well, and that's what makes it beautiful.
Yeah, we owe
it's
that
still
to her.
Here. We owe a lot to her.
Thank you, Mr. Strathers, for speaking to us tonight.
Thank you, Dana, and you're looking lovely tonight.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So I understand that you have a strong connection to the mansion.
Well, I originally sold Cynthia the mansion many years ago, and I gave a fabulous party here about 10 years ago. And we had all of the Motown artists, and it was just one fabulous party. It's in great memory. So just a lot of memories here and nostalgic, and it represents Detroit, such a rich part of Detroit, the heyday, the fun, and talk about how Barry Gordy lived. It's just really, really something, isn't it? I hope that the purchaser will still reflect, Detroit, and he bought it because he loves Detroit and he loves Motown. So that's good news. It's also really a certification about Detroit's value. This property appreciated, let's say, it appreciated 700% from the time that she purchased it many years ago, and now, and all up and down Boston Boulevard and all over the city. Properties are appreciating so rapidly.
So we have Deborah here, and if anybody knows a little bit of everything about this house, she does.
I do.
She is the listing agent for the sale of this home, and she knows this house from inside and out.
I do.
So tell us a little bit about what you know and what you like for people to know about this home.
Oh my goodness. Well, 2017 is the centennial anniversary of the house because it was built in 1917 by Nels Mickelson. I could stand here for an hour and tell you everything I know about it.
Some of the unique features.
The unique features are that the house, having been restored by Miss Reaves, she won an award for the restoration, started with a good palette because this house is one of very few in the historic districts in Detroit that had never been stripped of any of the items. So all of the original hardware is still there, a lot of the original light fixtures are still there. It really is a work of art.
So she was able to preserve what was there and add on to it to make sure that the house remained and was sturdy and it continues to stand and go on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is a celebration for what she did.
It's a celebration because what Miss Reaves did was to elevate the stature of this house to the point where the sales price that we garnered at $1.65 million is a record for Boston Edison.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
And a record as far as price per square foot for the city of Detroit.
How about that? How about that?
So that is a testament to the restoration that she did and the beautiful job that she did of keeping the legacy and extending the profile of this house.
I'm gonna miss the parties, Cynthia's Easter parties, Christmas, Thanksgiving. I'm gonna miss all the holiday parties she used to perform around here. I'm gonna miss all these nice lights flashing in these parties because I feel like there's gonna be no more celebrations and this is the last celebration.
Well, how about you introduce yourself to the new owner when they move in? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so.
You could do that. Thank you for coming to share with us.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you. Have a good evening, sir.
You too.
All right. We have the wonderful Martha Reaves with us here at the Motown Mansion. Tell us about this.
This is my third time in this place.
Isn't that something?
They done changed it up and they made it better. They renovated it really, really well. I wasn't in here a lot. I'm not on Motown. I'm on the Gordy label. And I think this ought to be my place.
Okay, I think so too. Let's go
Her
ahead
name
and
was Reaves. My name's Reaves.
I think so.
And I think I sold enough records to have at least a quarter of
Okay.
the 89,000 mansion acre here. You know, to dance in the street till I die. I'm just
Okay.
a bird. I'll just fall off a limb and just land on the ground and I'll just be chirped out. I'm just a singer. Just a singer. That's all I am. Yeah.
Well, we're so glad you're
That's what I
here
did
tonight.
for the Motown sound. My baby loves me. Oh, yeah.
And again, we're here at the Motown Mansion. So glad to have with us today a young lady, yeah. I worked with her years ago under the Archer administration. She was then, believe it or not, a city council member, Alberta Tinsley Talabi. And when I met you, it was just Tinsley. Okay.
But it's all been good.
Yes. So good to see you at this event tonight.
So much.
What is so impactful about this particular house?
You know, every city has its own icon. You think about the Empire State Building. You think of other cities, but when you think of Detroit,
Yes.
come on now. The first thing,
Motown.
come on, Barry Gordy's home.
Yes.
And we should be proud, and we are proud.
And we are.
And tonight's party is what a celebration.
Isn't it?
You know, they say there's no party like a Detroit party.
There's
no
nothing.
party like a Motown party given by the Honorable Cynthia Reaves.
It is awesome.
Yes,
So tell us what Motown meant to you then and what it means today, even though the legacy changed a bit, but nonetheless, it's still important to Detroit. What did it mean to you then and what does it mean now?
Music is the language that everyone speaks, and it's so impactful and so powerful. And for Detroit to have birthed so much right here on the boulevard at the Motown Museum, and to be here where we know Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye and, oh my God, Diana Ross and Martha Reaves, who's here tonight
Yes, ma'am.
representing, oh my God, she's incredible. And all of those, the Jackson Five, who've come and just blessed the city. And with music that shall forever live, it shall never die.
Never die.
And it's just such a communication tool for the world.
Yes.
And it was all about love.
Yes.
It was all about love. And I think that there's some of that inside of every Detroiter. Every Detroiter in our hearts. And I'm just glad to be a part of it. So proud to be a Detroiter.
As I mentioned earlier, we're right here at the Motown Mansion. We are having a great party, a great evening here. The sky is beautiful. It's a beautiful day, and it's all about Detroit tonight. And with us, we have
Brendan.
Brendan and
Michelle Bonner.
Now, what brings you guys out this evening?
Oh, sorry. I started painting in here for Cynthia. I met Cynthia and she invited me over, and we've been doing different projects and painting in the house, and we've become friends over the years and just really enjoyed and felt privileged to be at this house.
It's a lot of history here. So, have you been through the whole house, Brendan? And what did you think when you first walked through this house?
Oh man, it was beautiful inside. Wish I had a house like that, you know?
So what was so significant once you started painting in this historic place? What was significant? What struck you when you began your project here?
Mostly when I was down painting around the stage. And I actually would listen to oldies all the time. so Motown music was coming on, and I'm just looking at the stage and thinking of who's been in this house and who was on here. And one time I was painting at the back vestibule, and some people had come through and just peeked in and said hi. And I was just staying busy, and it was Smokey Robinson. I didn't even pay attention. I was just like, hi, and then just kept painting. And I found out after it was Smokey Robinson. I'm like, whoa, I wish I would have stopped for a moment and said a few things right. So it was pretty cool. And sometimes I'd bring him with me, but he was just little. And so Cynthia would give him projects to do around the yard. And he'd run around here. He thought it was the greatest place.
And so you kind of grew up, if you will, in the Motown era. So what was the most significant thing you found out about this beautiful place?
The what is it? The speakeasy downstairs. I'm digging that. Yeah, it's a lot of history behind it, you know.
And what do you think about Motown music? You're a younger man, but there's still quite a bit of history in Detroit and actually around the world. So how do you feel when you hear a Motown song?
Oh, I'd rather listen to Motown. I mean, it's good music. It's when music was still good, you know, not.
I taught him well.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
Well, we thank you guys for joining us. Go ahead and enjoy some more of this great food and this wonderful
night.
It is. It's a beautiful night, perfect night for such a historic event. And again, we have some wonderful people who are here at this wonderful event this evening at the Motown Mansion. We have Roland and Donetta with us, and this is a stupendous occasion. Would you agree?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Dancing, party, constant food, constant attention. Beautiful layout.
So what brings you guys out this evening to this event?
Cynthia is my sorority sister, and I am so proud of her, and I am so happy to be invited, and it's a wonderful evening.
So what does Motown mean to you guys? When you think about, you're probably too young to really remember it.
Yeah, right. Thank you for that.
The Olympia and Michael Jackson in 1972, 3. Yes, okay. 5th row. Oh, wow. I had just moved here from Mississippi, and I was 5. Yeah, it was great.
So that was your introduction basically to Detroit and the Motown era.
Yes.
I've been here since the Motown era started. We used to go down to the Fox Theater for the Motown Review.
Yes, sir.
Every year. It was a fantastic thing. When I tell folks that it only cost us $5 to go to that, they didn't believe me.
That was more like $500.
Oh, I don't know what it is, but
and
hey.
I always wanted to be a Supreme.
Oh, okay. Well, come on, let's go.
In the name of love, before you break my heart, think it over.
Have not been good to you.
Have not been good to you.
Yeah, you've been with me.
We've been married 1 year.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes.
This is Gail Perry Mason. She is a world-renowned author, financial guru. She's here in Detroit, but mostly she's here at the Motown Mansion this evening. How are you?
I'm great.
Great.
Thank you. Great to be here. Definitely.
So what does this mansion actually mean to you?
This mansion is more than a house.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a home for Motown.
Yes.
And matter of fact, I just left an event where it talked about where I was given it for adoption, and right down the street is where I grew up.
Okay.
So I grew up right down the street, and I used to walk by this mansion all the time to see if I could see the Jackson 5, to see if I could see everyone. Mm-hmm. And it was just kind of like, it meant so much. Mm-hmm. And then I'm friends with Cynthia Reaves.
Uh-huh.
So Cynthia Reaves one day said, she came to my office and she said, Gail, I want to buy that house. And I'm like, really? And she says, yes, I want to buy that house. And I said, well, I know somebody you can probably buy the house from. And we wrote a letter and gave it to them. And that's what happened.
And she owned the house.
And now she owns it now.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah. So anyway, so everything is a divine connection.
Yes,
so this home means a divine connection. When Cynthia wanted to buy the house, we talked about it. I ended up making a connection for her. Everything's in divine order, divine connection.
Yes,
so I truly believe that.
So, Motown.
Yes.
What does it mean to you? I've asked several people that you're a Detroiter.
Yes.
But what does it mean? What did it mean then, and what does it mean now?
What did it mean then was it was our history. And what does it mean now? It's still our history.
Yes.
And so both then and now it's still our history. Yes. And it means so much. It was the best music. It is still the best music ever. That was came right from here in the city of Detroit.
Yes.
The inner city of Detroit.
The inner
And
city.
this is the inner city of Detroit. This big beautiful mansion.
Yes.
So it's just beautiful.
And you know, I think that's the fantasy. People try to coin Detroit as this horrible place, lots of murders, and so on and so forth. But we know the real Detroit.
We know the
And
real
this is the
Detroit.
real Detroit.
Barry Gordy lived here.
Yes.
This is the mansion owned by African American male.
In Detroit.
In Detroit.
Yes.
In the inner city.
Yes.
Off right by Highland Park.
Yes.
Highland Park was one of the greatest areas ever in the world.
Yes.
In the USA.
Yes.
So and then owned by a black female.
Yes.
And then she sold to someone else.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you stopped by to talk
course,
to us.
of
you
course,
know.
of course.
Good to
Okay.
see you again.
Always.
And we will
Mwah.
see you
Okay.
inside the
Okay.
party.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. And we're here at the Motown Mansion. We're partying. You partying?
Yeah,
You
we're partying.
Yeah.
Oh, we're partying.
Yeah. Okay, tell us who you are and who you're related to.
I'm Carolyn Bright, and I am Cynthia's first cousin, Cynthia Reeves' first cousin.
What are some memories that you have? You just told me something fantastic. I wish you had my number so you could have called me at the time. But how long has she owned the house, and tell us about some of the memories she has.
You know, I'm not really sure exactly how long she's owned the house. I know she's had her eyes on the house when she was a child. She lived down the street, and I used to spend the night with her and my aunt and Uncle Bill and Kenneth, my cousin. And we would, look out the windows and see the parties and the cars coming up. And one day I was home and she called me and she said the Jackson 5 were here playing miniature golf. And I was very upset at the time because my dad would not bring me over.
Oh, no.
And I'm on the phone with her, just talking to her about what do you see now, who's out there. And she swore she saw Marlon and Michael. Marlon I was in love with.
Yes,
so.
me too.
Oh,
Me too.
okay, well,
Enter
we
me.
have to fight it out.
I think all of them actually.
That's
all of them.
okay. So I wasn't surprised when she bought the house. Very proud of her and the work that she's done, the award-winning restoration, and the vision that she had for it has come to fruition, and now she's got a new vision and it's moving on. So it's great.
So can you share a little bit about that new vision? Did you want to tell us, or we should ask her?
I think you need to ask Cynthia. She tends to, be able to speak for herself and be very, thoughtful and articulate about it. And I'm kind of hearing it secondhand. And I think it's fantastic. I think everybody else should hear it, as well.
We'll
So.
ask her a little bit later.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us this evening, and let's go back in and enjoy this party.
Yeah, it's time for some hustle.
Yeah, let's go. And we're so glad to have Cindy Cook with us from the Hub, and she came to cover this wonderful event here at the Motown Mansion. Cindy, are you enjoying this?
I am having such a great time. I mean, how can you not? It's like it's a party on steroids.
Yes, it is.
Fantastic.
I love it. So, have you gone on the tour?
No, not yet. I haven't.
My gosh, yes. You have on some comfortable shoes, yes?
Yes, I do.
Because
yes.
there are 3 beautiful floors here.
Oh, okay.
A hallway with some wonderful pictures of all the Motown artists that ever came through here.
Wow.
It's a wonderful event.
I bet. I mean, it's such a great house. There's so much history here. It's
Yes.
100 years old this year,
Yes.
which is so fun. No, I can. And I mean, I live in the carriage house here, so every day I get the pleasure of waking up on the grounds and having my dog run around, and it's just wonderful. It's such a beautiful place to be.
It is. It is a
He's
beautiful
great
place.
landlord.
Cindy, we're going to go back in here and enjoy the party a bit more. There's still some food. Lots of drinks left, by the way.
All right,
So,
good.
all right,
I need a nightcap.
Me too. Again, Cindy from the Hub right here at the Motown Museum. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's fun.
We are so very glad to have with us today the Reaves family. And we talked to the mother earlier today, but we want to also include brother Ken. I've worked with him so many years ago, actually on a couple projects, and his lovely wife. Thank you guys so much. Now, what does this event mean to you now? We know that She owned this mansion, and now things are changing. But what did it mean to you when she owned it?
You know, it's the culmination of 10 years of hard work. We spent about 5 years restoring it. We bonded as a brother and sister and recognized who were talented people in the city. And, you know, we wanted to give back to the city. We grew up right across the street. So you know, it represents 10 years of hard work that's paid off in some ways, and we're happy that we took on this venture.
Now, this beautiful home was restored, as you said, you know, for over 5 years. Still needs some work done to it. However, the memories will last forever.
You know, all of these historical houses need constant work because they're historical, and so things that you think are secure break down every once in a while. But that's the beauty of people who live in this neighborhood. They want to restore it back to its natural flavor, and they're doing wonderful work here in this community. You know, we've been here in this community since 1962, and so we know everyone, and it's a wonderful opportunity for people who are interested in historical homes and interested in architecture to do something well here. And so we appreciate it. We're happy to be here.
So we're so glad to have the Reaves family with us. A beautiful home. They spent a lot of time and a lot of effort to maintain it as it is today. Again, we thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for the kind words. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.